Hans, this has got a sort of certain Cold War feel about it. Putin now saying Russia could support a strike on Syria if there is proof.
Well, what Putin is trying to do, and good morning, Guy, is he's really walking a fine line as he tries to be conciliatory towards President Obama. What you see his position here, Putin's that is it's one where he wants to have this summit come across as a success. It's the one bit of leverage that the White House thinks they have over Vladimir Putin. Of course, President Obama canceled the initial summit in Moscow. That's why he just landed in Sweden. They tacked that on at the very end. And what you see from the White House's perspective is they come here thinking they're in a position of strength. They have backing from two key House Republicans on the use of authorization of force for an action in Syria. It looks like things are going their way in the Senate. Admittedly, the language has been tweaked ever so slightly in the Senate to make it a little more narrow, a little more circumscribed. So this gives Obama the opportunity to say, I'm here, I'm getting congressional backing, and we do have some allied support. But what Putin is clearly saying is that the UN has to make a finding that it was the Syrian authorities, the Assad regime, that was in fact responsible for this strike. And when you look at the UN inspector's mandate, all they can do is determine whether or not chemical weapons were used. They cannot make a determination on who actually authorized that. So while Putin appears to be a little conciliatory here, he's essentially not changing his position and saying that this has to be done through the UN or it won't be legally sanctioned. Guy?
Yeah, it feels very tactical on his part, and he clearly understands the lie of the land in front of him. If we do see this slight shift in tone and it's carried on over the next few days, do these two guys sit down and talk face to face?
There's nothing on the schedule, and there's nothing from the White House to indicate that they want to reward Putin with a face-to-face, one-on-one meeting. They will have an opportunity to talk on the sidelines of this. There'll be a variety of group settings. But in terms of one-on-one meetings, President Obama only has two scheduled right now. One with François Hollande of France to potentially talk about action in Syria, and of course with the Chinese President Xi. Those are the only two he has scheduled. They can always add something, but Guy, I've done a number of these now, and it doesn't feel like President Obama wants to sit down with the man that he referred to as that slouching student in the back of a classroom.